from now. But just a few housekeeping rules. If you're just joining in, welcome. And if this is your first time, we are glad you're here. And you could send in your questions. You could write them at the comment section of the streaming platform that you are on. And if you're watching via Honor TV, please, we just want to say thank you for hooking up. And you can also send in your questions via email or WhatsApp text. And the email is thegospelmanager@gmail.com. And the WhatsApp text is +234 9047533019. We'll be glad to take your questions. God's servant is in the house and is full of God's wisdom and precision to handle whatsoever challenge that you're going through by the way of questions. And I'm glad that I'm with our father, our mentor, our hero, and I call him personally the Lion of Africa. Nothing seems too difficult for him to handle, but that's because he has God on his side. And so I would like to leave the floor for him to give us his opening remarks and what to expect in this episode. Good morning, Daddy.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
God has a plan for everyone, and accessing God's plan can come through his voice, very personal encounter, but very, very sound, strong counsel. And I believe that our community is lacking behind because we are beginning to reduce value for strong counsel. And one of the things that I will provide today is that strong counsel. I pray anyone who gets through it will be blessed.
Thank you so much, sir. And we're about to kick off, and we're kicking off with the first question from Obeyemi from Ikeja. He says, "Good morning, sir. I was blessed by the Gospel Manager live stream on Friday. You are so intelligent, and I respect your sense of reasoning, sir. Please, sir, what's your take on retaliation? When a wrong is done you without cause by someone, and they hurt you really bad, and you get the chance to do something against them, do you think it's wrong to take that chance? Someone betrayed me some time ago, despite my sacrifices to his life. Right now, I am in the midst of emotion by another superior person who make him lose something valuable, and I am highly tempted to allow it. I have the powers to plead and let him be forgiven, but I really want him to suffer the way I did when he betrayed me without consideration. Please advise me, sir."
Our community is filled with people with self-interest. So because of the self-interest approach we bring to life, we tend to see life from an angle. And as long as you keep seeing life from an angle, you will do things from an angle. Can you imagine Joseph seeing life from the angle of his brothers? He wouldn't have become the leader like he was in the Bible. So Joseph saw life from the angle of God. What will God do if he's here? That was why when he had the privilege of retaliating his brother's ill, Potiphar's wife's ill, he saw that it was God who has lifted him up. So we didn't hear about those stories again in the Bible. So the best way to handle situations is to see that God has helped you. If God has helped you, ignore things that are not necessary. There are some things I just feel they are not necessary. I've always tell people that at your age, there are certain things you shouldn't do anymore. Reacting unnecessarily is a sign that you are limited to knowledge. So if he has the privilege of doing something for the person's life, why not? He should do it. He shows that he's superior in knowledge and in maturity. And he's a Christian too. So I should treat it.
I think why many people are tempted to do the same, like Mr. Miami, is but people, like I know you do it a lot. You cover up for people without even letting them know.
That's
So
true.
they still act the way they act, thinking that they have the
They are right, yeah.
So I think what he's trying to do is so that the person will get to know that, look, I did it, or I had the chance to do this, what has happened. I just wanted to throw light on that so that if people who are watching...
He has to have a conversation with the person. This is something that is before you. And I have the right to refuse it. But I want to teach you that what you did to me, I can ignore you. So You know, I was reviewing an event recently and I said to myself, why are people the way they are? Why do people ferment trouble when there's no trouble? And why do people act the way they act and defend their actions so boldly and wanting you to act that way? So don't allow people to make you act that way. I've come into a conclusion. You may think you are underestimating me or you are hurting me, but you are not. Because I've built myself to understand that you can't get everything at every given time of your life. So if people get to you that way, if you want to let them know, fine. If you don't want to let them know, it's still not necessary. You understand? So you don't owe anybody that explanation about, you see, I was hurt and you did this thing. Now I have the right to pay you back. I don't want to let you know that I won't pay you back or I paid you back. It's not necessary. Move on with your life and fight to have peace with yourself. And that's the most important thing about life. Peace with yourself and the one who created you. And be a blessing to those God has assigned your life to. And that's all you need to do with life.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay, so we'll go on with the question from Julia. She says, good morning, Bishop, sir. Thank you for Gospel Manager. This is very exciting to see there's a platform where we could ask questions and then get answers straight up. So my question is on handling people. I had an ex. I parted ways with him 3 years ago. He is a man of impeccable virtues, but he has a weakness, and that is temper. Even though most times he's conscious of it, he tries to hold himself, but sometimes he just let it out. And other times, after which he had let it out, he begins to regret. He comes even to apologize whether he was right or wrong. Because to him, he said he has been battling this temper for the past 17 years. He has tried to suppress it. He's tried all he could. He's a good person. He has a kind heart. His only issue is temper. It used to be extreme. But now I hear it is gone down a bit, but though it's still there. That was one of the reasons why I broke up with him. I have not been in a relationship. I have not been in a relationship since then, and neither has he. I kind of still have feelings for him, but my own question now is, how, for people like that, how do you best advise that they control their anger issues?
Awareness is important. See, when you don't accept that you have a problem, you can't be helped. I'm trying to get myself as an exemplary picture for everything I do now. You know, it will be easier if you accept first that you have a problem. So if you don't accept you have a problem, you can't be helped. And that's why reduce the way you talk to people when they are not listening to you. Because you'll be going through the pain of believing that they have to change. And when somebody is not aware of his mistakes, it's not going to change. So awareness is powerful. First, get aware that you have a problem. And then seek for solution. Because I won't seek for solution for you. You have a problem, then who can solve it? These are two things you must do first. I have a problem. And my problem is anger. So now that I know who can solve it, now you can define who to solve it. It can be the Bible, it can be a message, it can be a strong counselor in your life, it can be even a little child in your life who is like, because you can learn from anywhere. It depends on who you value. I learn from everybody. So whatever gives you the solution, why not try to make sure you learn from it? So if he has these two things put together, he will be better. But for the other person that is waiting for him to get better and not being involved for him to get better, I don't think they need to go through all of those routes anymore. If you cannot stay to see him get better, then to me, I have a way of life. If I have a problem and you can't stay when I have the problem, then I don't need you when I'm through with the problem. I don't need you. If you feel I have a problem and you want to leave because of certain opinions you have, fine. But I will never give my place to you till Jesus come. I'm not in enmity with you. I won't quarrel with you. I won't fight you. You will not even see me react against you. But your message is very clear. That there are certain stands you will take if certain things happen around me. And I know that. So I will live with that, knowing that this fellow will not pay certain prices around my life. So talking about returning back on somebody who you literally walked out on because he has a problem, you don't have, just look for a way to rebuild your life and move on. Move on with it. Don't go back there anymore. It's not necessary. But if you want to see him helped by providing solutions to him, fine, you can do that. But trying to go back, no.
Thank you, sir. I have two questions in line with what you had said. One is from an experience I had with someone, what they said, and two is something that we see almost every day. The first question would be about the experience I had. There was this couple, and then he said to me that he has temper, but one of the reasons why he loves his wife is that she has a way of calming him down when he's at his peak. So the question I will ask is I don't think it's right, because what if she's not there and someone gets you at that peak? How do you now modulate? And it's not a sign that your temper had been curbed. Even though he knows he has temper, but he has done nothing because he thinks that he has a wife that will always have a way of turning. So what he was saying, that sometimes some friends or people around will have to call his wife will call him and start speaking to him, he'll calm down.
You know, justification is so strong, and it comes at the expense of entitlement. And when somebody is very bold, trying to excuse a mistake and give a reason why the mistakes play themselves, is two things. They are living justified and they are living entitled. And when you see that, people will not change. Those excuses about the wife being involved is just to make sure that he looks good before certain persons. But to me, you want to change. Every man has an inner sense. Nobody is a fool. You can call somebody an idiot. The person has a sense of reasoning. Every man has a time where they off the light and sit alone. And those times, they don't sit alone to abuse people. They sit alone to appraise themselves. Some appraise themselves very wrongly. They put people before them and say, if this person is not here, I would have been like this. This is the reason why I have a problem in my marriage. This is the reason why I cannot cook well. This is the reason why I cannot go to school. This is the reason why I cannot pass my exam. So now, they are trying to put people as the reasons why they can't be effective in something they have the privilege to do, because some other person has done something they cannot do. So they now feel it's either a competition or a comparison, rather than saying very clear, this is where I have difficulty. There's a way to talk to yourself. This is where I have a problem. And I feel this is not the problem. I am the problem. But I'm going to give myself this 1, 2, 3 so I can solve it. Because if I don't solve it, in the nearest future, this problem will still be my nightmare, because it is still there. It is still there. Some people we blame today in our lives may not be there anymore some at one time. Who are you going to blame? Because your attitude is still there with you. So the best thing for him to do is to stop saying his wife is the support of his peace. He should identify that he has a problem and work on the mechanisms to solve it. Because it is that's the only way to. But if he has not killed justification and entitlement, it will still be there. That's the problem of every human. I have it, you have it. Sometimes we say things like this. It's because of this person I'm going through this problem. If I was spoken to correctly, I would have responded correctly. But the question is, you are a human. You can decide not to respond the way you responded. You have a choice to listen and don't act. You also have a choice to listen and act. You have a choice to see and interpret it differently. Everybody has a definition. You have a choice to hear and hear it differently. So you have the choice to do things in the room where it won't give you a crisis. But if you choose to do things and they end in crisis, it's still your choice. So in my not pull here is, let's not glorify what is killing us. Let's not be doing that to ourselves. Because at the tail end, let me give you a story. A woman who loses her marriage, fights her father, fights her siblings, fights everybody, does not have children, has crisis with her children. When she dies, who will bury her? I believe some school of thought will say her children. Why do you feel I will bury you? Because you gave birth to me. Have you ever thought of why do you think that when you die, after all the evil you did to me, I will bury you because you gave birth to me? Why do you feel that way? And why didn't you also think that you should have reconciled those evil before you died? Why are you only thinking that I will bury you? Why do you also feel because you are my wife or because you're a husband, you can talk anyhow and do whatever you like and still feel it does not matter? You can't apologize. You can't come remorsefully and beg for something you did wrong. You claim with an attitude. What makes you feel that person cannot behave like that? The other person has chosen to be mature. Not because of you, because of the state of mind. So let us try as much as we can to know that our end product is more important than our emotions for today. That will change your entire decisions, how you see life, how you see people, and how you see yourself. That's all they just need.
Thank you. So the second question I had on this, just before we go into all the questions, is there are people who feel that this thing, it's giving them the advantage. Because I heard someone say, if I'm quiet, they will take me for granted. So I need to show myself. And then there are people who feel also it will make people afraid of them. And then you hear them make statements like, if I mean, I don't go if you try them because I go kill them, things like that. So people who have that line of thought, unknowing to them, they are still hobbing that temper that they have. What do you say about those people?
It's limitation. Anybody who acts like that is limited. When you see yourself reacting without even proper details, you have limitation issues. React even when you don't have proper information and you begin to act, and then you come with pictures of defenses, and it happens a lot for people. So those things shows that you have limited knowledge, and limitation in knowledge will affect your action as a human. So I grew up as a man leading people. As I grow up, I begin to understand that sometimes the pool of quietness is a sign of great wisdom. Sometimes we are misleading negative reactions to rebuke and correction. Rebuke and corrections are two different things. The Bible subscribes rebuke and correction. But we are subscribing to being arrogantly unnecessary to people and feeling that it is rebuke and correction. No. I can rebuke you for something you did I don't like, but it's not out of the grounds of trying to oppress you. I won't accept something you are doing because I know it is wrong, but I will not oppress you. So that oppression is the thing called you are limited. You have complex issues. You are surviving by people's obedience. You are threatened by people's intelligence. People who know better than you can't stay close to you. You will pick a fault about them. And that's the problem. When you start having challenges of people who are better than you, is a sign that you were not meant to be successful. No, you don't have a destiny of progress. If you look at people's events and they challenge you negatively, you have a problem with yourself. I've gone to places where I admire all I see. And I say, what? But it does not make me come back home and start blaming anybody around me. Yes, I've never blamed anybody about anything. I only feel bad about certain things I expect people to know that they have refused to know. I just feel bad about it. But I will not sit down there and look at myself, then condemn myself, hate myself, then come back and begin to deal with people that are not even the issues or the reasons why I have a problem. So when you see somebody trying to defend, excuse, the problem is very simple. They either have complex issues or they are threatened by other people. That's just all. I'm not threatened by anybody. Anybody, I've never seen any man in this life that will make me threatened. Till Jesus come. And myself. I've always said it, the only person that makes me a little bit, I'm trying to be cautious, is the person that called my father. I'm doing that because I want him not to feel I'm trying to be at his level. No, or I'm trying to show to him, no. Let him always know that I'm teachable. That's the reason why I do that. Let him always know that I am somebody who can be taught. That's all. It's no other thing there. And that's how I have lived my life with those I have reverence for. But so you can't change that, because people will feel, if they show those kind of conditions. What is fear? If I ask you now, what is fear?
People who are intimidated by the unseen.
You know, it is defined. You know, I can be intimidated by somebody's wealth, somebody's beauty, somebody's handsomeness, somebody's intelligence, somebody's hard working in the system, and is getting all the attention. I can be intimidated with that. I can be intimidated with the relationship that you have. I can also be intimidated by the kind of things, people around you. But why would that be your problem? Because what you don't work for, don't desire it. What you can't work for, don't desire it. Stay on your track. Live your own life and live it to the satisfaction of your tomorrow. So what you cannot labor for, why getting angry with people laboring for it? So to me, it's not necessary. Build a life where you can rebuke people, correct them, but don't do it on the bad light that they are better than you. I'm going to make sure this my assistant pastor, as a pastor who preaches and all the members are after him, he does not preach again. Why? The entire November and December, I've outlined my pastors to preach the entire 2 months. Because that's not a problem. I have a role that nobody can take away from me. Till Jesus come. If somebody gives you a house today and does not give me a house, I will be the one to go meet the person, buy the person a gift, and thank him for giving you the house without you knowing. If he even comes to me and tell me, I want to give Pastor Silas a house, I say, why not? Give him, discuss with him, and give it to him. But I will bless him as if they gave me that house. That is what we should be doing to ourselves. And that is where growth becomes effective. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Just before we take the next question, just a quick reminder that from the month of November, there's a special online prayer program from the 1st to the 3rd of the month, and it happens every first 3 days of each month. We're going to be live at 7 a.m. and also at 4 p.m. Send in your prayer requests just as you're sending in your questions, and we're going to deal with them online. Standing in the room of intercession and prayer to ensure that every prayer point that you send is met and answered by God. And of course, you will testify in Jesus' precious name. All right, we'll take the next question, and it says, good morning, my bishop, sir. My name is Ozioma, and I'm from Enugu State. I wouldn't want to bore you with a long story, but I'll just make it brief in this question. And it says, sir, I was once in a relationship from my university days. I believed and so much loved this girl with my heart, even though I was struggling because, of course, I'm the first son, and I have three other younger siblings that I was also doing a bus conductor work whilst in school to raise money also to send them to school, because I didn't want a situation whereby I would drop out and allow them, or I go to school while they stay at home. Now I was struggling. At some point, she was supportive. Out of the blues, her attitude changed, and I discovered after some months that she was seeing another person. And then one of her friends who was always with us through thick and thin, sometimes even at the time I was dating her, she was sometimes sending us money to buy food to eat. We were like brothers and sisters, best of friends, until she got into another relationship. And then I called and sat her down and asked her what the future holds. And then she said she was done with the relationship, she's no longer interested. I was heartbroken, I wouldn't lie to you, my bishop. But then this her friend noticed I was not around her, asked questions. She would lie to the friend that I traveled, knowing that we were this close and it was going to be kind of a disappointment to break such news to her friend. And then her friend came, was very supportive, stood by me. Even doing my project work, she helped sort out a few things and a few bills. Now, God being so kind, whilst I was in the NYSC camp, in one of the social gatherings I performed, and then God connected me to where I'm currently working, where I am now a regional director of that company, and this happened in the space of 6 months. All of a sudden, I traveled, even though I started the relationship with this her friend, and we were even close to getting married. I traveled on a business trip as sent by the company to the United Kingdom on a training and also to secure a business. And when I came back, I noticed that the girl I was in a relationship with started distancing herself from me. I made my way to her several times. She would tell them to tell me she's not around or she traveled. But eventually I saw her in a supermarket, and then she opened up to me that this our other friend had been sending her threat messages if she continues with me. She even lied to her that I was also dating her whilst dating this one I'm currently with. And then I opened up to her and told her that all those things were false. I went to the other one to confront her, and she told me that she was still madly in love with me and she has to come back to me and that we should get married. That her friend was the one that talked her, which I believe it was a lie, talked her out of loving him, saying that she should look for a better man and a better life, which she obeyed. And now she has seen how much of a treasure she has lost. Cut long story short, sir, I have made my decision to marry this girl, but this other one still gives us a ton of flesh. I had even relocated to Abuja through the help of my general manager who worked my transfer to Abuja. I am with this girl, but this one came to Abuja. How she got our contact and our address, I don't know. I am tempted to approach the police. I'd actually arrested her. Her mom kept begging and begging. She signed an undertaking. This was 3 weeks ago. And then just yesterday night, I was also told by the girl I am dating that she also still sent pile load of curses as a WhatsApp text and also threat messages. At this point, sir, how would you advise I handle this situation?
First, let's not go through that. It's very childish, though. Children are playing Ludo. So it doesn't make any sense to me. There are certain things that an adult should not get involved in. When I mean adult in the mind, not adult in number. Number two, investment should be purposeful. When we invest on people's life, we should know. I've been a victim of investment of people who I expected certain life with them. And then I discovered that you can't tell the future by sudden commitment. Follow me clearly. So I have redressed my style over that. The liberty I give to you is what you do to me. I can never go beyond what you do to me, but you may not know. I'm saying this the second time on air. I will not go beyond what you give to me. God does not come to you. It is how you come to God that he goes to you. So I have learned that that's why God is not disappointed. He's not disappointed. It is the nature of how Saul treated him that he treated Saul. When Saul started misbehaving, he told him, I've left him. He doesn't beg people. God does not beg anybody. So it is the way you treat me that I will treat you. So it's easier for you to know people to the level where you look for what to invest in their lives. So if he has gone through that first investment and it didn't work, and was close to that investment, had a friend, which to me that's even an error for him now to be going out with the same circle that he was with. So whatever he's facing now is his lack of wisdom to not to know that you don't go to the same circle to do the same thing twice. He would have disciplined himself no matter the consolation that person brought at that time, and said, no, I appreciate your consolation, but I cannot date you because you are a friend to my previous friend. Because if he had looked outside, he would have had peace in his life. But he is also in a state now that he has to take decisions of strength, which I won't tell him to do so. Decisions of strength that will defend what he wants. All this talking, the mother begging, mother, it's not necessary. He needs to take a decision of strength that will make that factor know that she does not have anything to do with his life anymore. And he's petting it. To me, he's petting it. His life is threatened. His relationship is threatened. He needs to take a stand as a man in the situation. The circumstance is erroneous though, but he has already got into it, which is not bad. He does not owe that one explanation for that. It's not his wife. She is the one that left the relationship for the onset. So he wants to do that. So let him deal with that with wisdom, but with strength. And when he puts strength into it, all this, somebody cried, it's not necessary. If you can cry, you should be able to advise your child on how to behave. To me, that's what the mother should be doing to her child. Stop this nonsense now. Not the crying to the person the girl is hurting. It's madness.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay, so we'll take this question. This is from Pastor Israel. He says, good morning, my bishop, sir. I trust you had a good night. Please, I want to ask a question, sir, please. How can we foster healthy team dynamics in ministry? That is, do you have any special criteria for appointing leaders? How do you really appoint your leaders, sir?
As we grow up as men of God, we pick people by availability. That's what we do. So that available pick don't end well. It does not end well. So as we mature, we pick people by their own effort, what they do around us. And this is what you do now that make you a leader. If you don't do, growth is worked for. And if the physical strength of growth is not seen in you, why are you a leader? If I say God said you're a leader and your physical involvement does not show. So we were using God said to get people into offices. And we are neglecting that after God speaks, they have to take responsibility. So when they are not taking responsibility, how will the God said work? So that's where we have mixed it as a church. So I am correcting a lot of things that has to do with that now. If God even speaks, what is the effort of the person God wants to use? Because if the effort is not there, then so leadership has to be with personal responsibility from the people. You will see the signs in them, then pick them. If there are no signs, don't pick them. If there are no signs that these guys will lead, don't go close to them. They will either give you a problem. Somebody you keep talking to do something is not supposed to be a leader. No. Somebody you keep talking to all the time. Somebody who just enjoys sitting down. There are two traces of a man you should not use as a leader. The one who observes you but does not learn. Two, the one who hears you and does not take your instruction. You can't use him. He observes you but he doesn't learn. hears you but does not take your instructions. He will write notes. He will say yes sir. He will say he has heard, but as he leaves your presence, he won't do it. And when you call him, he will explain a different thing outside what you told him. Don't make him a leader around your system. If you trust that kind of a person, have you you know how long I've led people? I started leading people at 19. I started leading humans at age 19. Not youth, so married men and children. So there is no dynamics of a human life that I don't know. Every dynamics of a human life, I know. So I can simply tell you, don't go for availability, go for responsible people who are willing to pay prices with you. And then with that attitude, they may not know anything, but they are willing to pay certain price with you. They can be your leaders. They will be your leader any day, anytime, anywhere.
Thank you so much, sir. All right, this a question from Telma from Asaba. She says, "Good morning, sir. I love you for your honest and your unconventional answers to life truth. My question is very direct. What do you do to people who are constantly entwined with you by reason of assignment and duty, but whose mentality never changes no matter what you do, especially when you have to keep working with them? Sir, some persons are so mundane and adamant with life, never improving no matter what you do. How do we coexist with these people, especially when we have no choice?"
It's worrying, though. It's worrying from and it's in every dimension of life. You can see it in our organizations. You can see it in marriage. You can see it in the life of our children. It's playing in every segment of life. But the solution is simple. We must start ignoring people positively. If I have a vision to build a house and I get a site engineer, please hear what I'm going to say, and anybody who's hearing me should learn from me now. And I gave him a target to meet. If he doesn't meet it, the next thing is to let him go. If I have a colleague in the office who is my colleague and we are both working on the organization and we are given an assignment to do, I can't sack that one. But I will do one thing. I will make sure he does not destroy the assignment we are giving. That I will do peacefully. If it is a marriage, because I don't believe in divorce, I will make sure that the person's character does not affect my job. If it is my child, I will also make sure that that child is put under strict conditions, that that child does not influence my atmosphere. So now the decision is still you. What you pay attention to becomes very powerful and becomes very destructive. So there must be a modality, because you want to grow, to make sure that your growth process is not distorted by people whose destination you can't tell. Some people just don't know what is pushing them. You can tell that they don't have a future. You can just tell that they don't have. And then you come into their lives to give them, and they are telling you that they don't need the future. So what do you do to those kind of people? Maybe they are committed to you by one way or the other that you can't do without them. So you have to know what to do to make sure that your own totality to grow is not affected by those systems. And then revenues to see them do certain things that can better. If they want to get better, that's their choice. But you will not sit down and give an excuse that the reasons why a system did not grow because a teammate does not want to do his job. Because if the entire system fails, you are also failing. You are also failing. If the system falls, you are falling. If a marriage crashes, it's not my fault too. Both parties in that marriage will be blamed why the marriage crashed. If a child did not do well, they will blame the parents. They won't blame the husband or the wife. The husband and wife. So understand that though we may have somebody who will need to blame, but if the system is not working, the entire system has crashed. They won't pick one person. A football team that plays and loses 4-0, are you blaming the one person? It's the entire team. The coach who did not play the match will be blamed. The FA will be blamed. The players will be blamed. Everybody in that system will be accused of not doing their job. So we must handle those things, those people. If we can, we either make them powerless or make them useful immediately. If not, they will become the reasons why we don't give enough energy to what we do. And that will reduce the value of production that needs to come out from our systems. Remember, man does not care if he does not know. I just passed a message to you to learn. People who don't care don't know. So as long as they don't care, they don't even know that they are damaging the system. Some people don't know they are killing their marriages. All they after is themselves. Some children don't know they are destroying their parents' destiny. All they after is some parents don't know they are killing their kids like they just themselves. Some people don't even know that their actions are destroying things day after day. Until one morning you get up and you regret that everything you did, you just wasted your time. So, but I will not allow a system to crash because of one man. You either handle the man or the man handles the system. It's a choice.
All right, so last episode on Friday, God's servant dealt with a question about women. And yesterday in our service, God's servant revealed to us the strength of a woman in a way that everybody who was in church was in all awe. And so I just want to use this opportunity again to invite all women and young ladies to a special prayer program this Friday, tagged Miracles with the First Lady. Our mother, God's servant's beloved wife, is hosting women from all over the globe. And please remember, it's interdenominational, meaning that you don't have to be a member of the Honor World to be part of that prayer program. And please, it's happening here at the Honor World International at 12 midnight, or you could start making your way to the church from 8 p.m. Our doors are open to receive you. It's going to be a Latin night of prayer and also teaching of God's word. It's always good to see women pray. Lots of things happen. Do you have issues you are worried about and you want God to intervene? It's another opportunity to present that case or that situation, also your families, your marriage, and even your business to God on Friday. Remember, it's Friday, and it's going to be an amazing time as women pray live here in the Honor World International. And not to forget the fathers at 8 a.m. on Saturday, the 19th, God's servant will be teaching on the glory of manhood. So please, all fathers also, you are very invited to be part of that event. And as you do so, God will bless you immensely. God bless you. All right, so we'll take another question. And this question is saying, good morning, sir. My question is about decision making. My name is Frank. What do you do, sir, when you are in between two decisions? I hear people say making profound decisions, making sound decisions, making decisions that are worthwhile, but sometimes I just use my instincts to know which to go, whether or not it turns out well. But is there any criteria or is there any special thing we do in terms of decision making, especially when it is important?
Your wealth of information is what counts when you make decisions. I have always said that be detail driven. Know something to the least, to the fullest, yes, before you start talking about it. One of the problems of today's community, we just know things halfly. You just hear and act. It's wrong to do that. Hearing and acting is a sign of limitation on your part. You don't hear, you hear, you study, and then you act. So the study part is never in our picture. Somebody just hears and just talks. And that's why you see people being insulted, being brought down to nothing. Because you're not supposed to hear and act. You're supposed to hear, study. Take your time to know something. Get the fabrics of it before you start acting like a child or acting like a mature person. So decision making is a product of long-term study. And don't take decisions through pain. People take decisions through pain, through what they heard, through what somebody said, through what somebody did to them, through what they feel about somebody. And all of those things are childish to me. So when you become a man, drop childish things. You can't be doing things like that. You're not sure, you're talking. You are not sure, you are acting. You are not sure, you just imagine things and then say them. You will get into trouble. The court rightly tells you that what you say in the court verdicts you. What you write in the police station verdicts you. So you should be careful when you write and when you talk. So when you want to make decisions, you must study the situation enough. Ask the right questions, get the right food before coming into a conclusion. Not just jumping into something and acting it to embarrass yourself. Because you'll be embarrassed. You will be embarrassed. 90% of the problems we have in this life today, when I see children suffering, marriages broken, careers destroyed, promising people are not, they are struggling, some are begging to eat, some don't know what to do, it's just because the person did not take his time to ask the right people the questions and get the right feedbacks. Because why will you have that crisis? Why will you have the crisis? How will you get a ticket? You bought a ticket to travel, and then in the ticket you didn't know that there is breakfast. Then you blame somebody who is eating his own breakfast that they didn't give to you. That's madness. So the problem we have here is that people are just taking decisions without even studying where they are coming from, where they are, and where they are going to. Because if you don't know these three things, you're going to have issues. Where were you yesterday? What are you now? And where are you going to? When you know these things, you will take the right decisions. You don't need any man to tell you, where was I yesterday? What am I doing now to myself? And where am I going to tomorrow? That can change your way of reasoning and your way of acting. And then you will take the right decision at all time, because you have to be right. You know why you have to be right, my dear? Because of where we are now. We are full with so much of distractions. So you don't jump into anything because somebody is doing it or somebody said it. You don't do that. Something you see on Facebook is not authentic. It can be a frame act sent to you. Why are we living our lives with imaginaries of people's own stories? Why are you living your life like that? Some other person's story is leading your own life. Why not live your life in the vines of your own testimony and grow your life with the decisions you are sure of that this is where you're going to in life? And that's important if you want to take healthy decisions.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay, so this next question is on career, and this is from Naemeka. He said, "Good morning, Bishop, sir. I want to ask a simple question, and first of all, I want to commend your wisdom. It's so profound. God bless you, sir." And then he's asking, "Sir, what do you do? Because several times I've told the people working under me, I'm privileged to head a unit in the office where I work, and there are people who, once there's a problem, they don't even go an extra mile to resolve or see if they could fix it. They just come and tell you this is the problem, and then they go and sit down. If nothing is done, they capitalize on that. I have told our lead that's the situation. What do you do with people like that? Something happened few weeks ago, and then the person who was in charge had told me about the issue, and I told him to find out how it can be resolved and get back to me. I was unfortunately with our boss when we went to site to check up one of our projects, and when we came back, we discovered that the issue had escalated, I beg your pardon, escalated, and then I was blamed for it, and then I also recommended to the HR his sack, because that is not the first time it's happened. And then people began to say that I was wicked and that I could not take responsibility for another man's action, but I resolved to sack. In this case, how do you handle people like that who are just lousy about things? They just tell you this is the problem and then just go and sit down.
Those kind of persons, they do two things all the time. They pick fault and they tend to show self-ego. Anybody you see in life who is always looking for people's error will always exalt himself to show that he's justified. I don't know how people see life. If I was raised by a very wealthy father, I would say because my father was very rich, so I didn't suffer. My father was rich and became very poor, so I suffered. I hawked bread on the street. I worked in a restaurant as a sales boy. I lived in 8 homes as a young chap. So I suffered. Are you following me now? So if people have certain backgrounds of poverty and struggle, why are certain people still having issues, knowing that committing yourself to an assignment is more important than yourself? What are you preserving yourself for? To live and die? Because I don't understand why what are you living for? For your husband or for your wife or your child? Those people will suffer because of the way you behave. That people you are fighting for, that you are staying alone, don't do anything, you don't want to take any assignment serious, they will beg for bread because you are not a serious person. They will enjoy the fruits of your labor when you get into any system and you become the life of the place. Become the head of the system, the body of the system, the mouth of the system. You'll become the life. That family will succeed because of you. The system will live because now this young boy I'm talking about now grew up in a ministry and became the image of that ministry. So bold that people thought I was the general overseer of the church. I was paying pastors' children's school fees. I was a pastor under a ministry. I was renting houses for them. I was marrying them. I was joining them. I had the liberty to do that. So I wanted to see the system grow. Now, do you think posterity tomorrow will allow me to be poor? If you even wish me to be poor, you're wasting your time. So the problem here is not opportunities of wealth or poverty. People have poor mental sight about the future. So they work according to how they think and feel per time, not where they are going to. Because if you see where you are going to, let me tell you 3 things that will happen to you every day. You will get up sleepless. Every day you'll be in a hurry to get up from sleep. 2, you will be feeling that you don't have time. 3, you will see lazy people as your enemies. I'm telling you. Now, was it yesterday? On Saturday, I finished talking to you people in the office and I said I want to prepare the Dreamers World event. I said, okay, let me go and rest. I have service on Sunday. I was lying down. It is him, get up. I wrote about the entire event of the Dreamers World till 3. The chat program, everything, till 3. Finished them and gave it to the captain of the group yesterday to go and start work. Now, at my level, I'm working till that time. I have 3 services to preach. I will eat my meal maybe at about 5 or 7 the next day. If I am doing that at my level, just imagine a man or a lady who does not have any level and is still not knowing that time is effectively used to achieve certain things, have responsibilities piled up, but feels to go to sleep for 8 hours. Now it just tells you what that person is fighting to become tomorrow, whether within a system or owning his own business. And you cannot do your own well when you have not done another man's own well. You cannot. What you do in service is what you do when you're a master. Jesus, the living man here, is Jesus the Savior in heaven. It's the same function he's carrying out. So let us get this picture clearly, that you will not get the best out of your life if you don't give the best to yourself. And this negligence of not doing anything and giving excuses, that is the reason why it's not working. It's because you choose to give those excuses. You can see those things, handle them, take responsibilities, do them better, fight to make it grow, because you have a choice of growth. And let me end with this. If I was not a pastor and I was a boy working under an establishment, you can't sack me. You cannot desire to sack me one day. You cannot try it. You know why? I will give you the liberty to go and rest as my boss. As a pastor, I generated monies from my life and bought properties for the church, not the church. I generated the money myself, bought 2 major properties and dashed the church. I generated it. The church was not aware. I did it myself. And those properties are still there for you. And those are the lifetime property the church has today. I was not encouraged. That is my nature. Things must be done. So when you have that nature that things will be done, it will be done. So when you see yourself somehow, you just don't have a successful tomorrow. You don't have. Let me bust a bubble. Between Saul and David, who had better privilege of life? Saul's father was rich. David's father was a wretched cattle bearer. But why were the destinies very different? Now, let me ask you. A lion and a bear came and took sheep. Is it David's fault? Please. Is it David's fault? Why would David fight to take away that sheep from the lion's mouth? A lion took sheep. Animal to animal. Took sheep. And you are only the shepherd to care for the sheep. Is it not better that you run away and save your own life? Then the young man said, no, my father's business will not die like this. I can't be here and the sheep is dead. If he escapes and says, Daddy, the lion came to kill the sheep, I ran him, Daddy will say, thank God you are alive, let the sheep go, Abi. He won't be abused or accused. It's the normal life procedure that the son stays alive. But the boy said, this is something placed in my hands, and I will not give an excuse why it will not work. Look at the stage. In that hidden stage where nobody will accuse him, he fought the lion and killed it and rescued the sheep. Now went to the national stage and saw a lion also, Goliath, and said, no, if I can do this when I was a small child, I will do this to a bigger force and kill that guy. You see, greatness is not hidden. You choose to carry it and end great, or you will end in the shadow of not achieving anything in life. It's not because of where you walk or who you are. It's what you have choose to do with yourself. Whether the school you attended, it didn't have to do with the school. It has to do with your motivation to do things right. Fighting to fulfill your tasks every day of your life. You are demanding for more work, more responsibility. That is what will give you the access for confidence, for boldness, for trust, for truth. And people who don't know you will begin to see your traces and ask you to come, because systems can't block a man who is effective in a system. If they come to a place and see a certain work, they will ask, who did it? Even when the person you are under is blocking you, your works will expose you. Even when the person who you are serving is saying nobody will see you, your works will make men see you, because it will never hide. So do yourself a favor to know that it is more benefiting to you when you invest more wherever you are, in the kitchen, in the garden, at the gate, anywhere you find. Please give your effort with your life. It's better you die working than die lazy. These excuses of people that give all the time, you see, the people around you will suffer if you don't do what it takes to grow. And that's why I feel for people. That's why I feel for a lot of people I see around me, because they think they are trying to excuse themselves from work. But you should make me see that you work. If I don't see it, the ground sees it. Now look at it. Between this rock and the other, which one do you prefer? Who brought it? Somebody's idea, Abby. Can you imagine that this thing is snapped and sent somewhere? Would they ask who made the rock or who dressed the rock? Who would they ask? Who dressed it, Abby? If they want it dressed in London, who would they call? The person who bought the rock or the person who dressed it? Would they ask the person who bought it? Who would they ask? The person who dressed this stage is who they will ask for, not the person who owned this building. So you see clearly that ownership is not a problem. You may be in a system and you don't have a position, but you are playing a mighty role. When the date of reckoning comes, they will call you more than those who have been there. David's brothers were soldiers now. He was a shepherd boy. Who was called at the end of the day? The one who was doing the job day after day for his father. He was called. So you can be called even when you are in the toilet and you're effective with it. Even when you're in the kitchen, effectively. You don't need to come out. Your works will show yourself. The food you cook to come outside. When you cook, don't you bring it outside. It's the food you cook. People will eat it, Abi. And it will tell that you are a good cook, and they will pay for it. You sew cloth, will people wear it? It will go outside. You polish shoe, won't they wear it? You edit program inside, won't you come out? People will see it. So the problem is not how we do it. It's how committed we are doing it. Are you doing it? Yes. Are you committed in doing it well? Do it well. And then the results will show itself outside. But if you keep sitting down and feeling that things will work with excuses, well, you check your end yourself. But I wish everybody to understand that you have a destiny to create for yourself if you want to create one for yourself. Whether you are in service or you are owning your own business, if you don't build the right mindset to do things, you will still be looking for life support.
Thank you so much, sir. This is where we draw the curtain for today's episode. Two takeouts from this episode. God's servant said it's better you die working than die lazy. He also said that so many things to take out, but this one is very important. He said that what you do in service is what you do as a master, and this is very, very essential for us to take to heart as one of our major highlights from this episode. Don't forget that Gospel Manager will be back on Friday, but before then, let's also remind you of our weekly activity. This Thursday is going to be an amazing time, still in the teaching series of the battles of the altar. God's servant has given us a huge expository on how to deal with altars, especially how to make the God of the altar respond on your behalf and win battles for you. So join us this Thursday again at 4:30 p.m. from any of the streaming platforms that you are on. And don't forget to be part of the Wine Conference this Sunday. It's going to be an awesome time as God's servant will teach us how to move your business from being local to becoming global. He's going to give us that expository. So if you're a business person, or you are someone who wants to engage in business, or you want to have ideas on how business are being run, please join us at 7:30 a.m. on the 20th, Sunday, for that expository. You will not regret it. So at this point, I'll leave the stage for God's servant to give us his concluding remarks and bless us for this new week.
Let us be intentional about life and try to assist growth. If you assist growth, the Jesus formula, he came to assist man. The Joseph formula, he came to assist Pharaoh and Egypt. So I have noticed that those who try to assist people do better with life. Those who try to avoid people don't do well with life. Those who try to oppress die. Those who try to assist, their names don't go off the earth. And let us try to assist one another in everything we try to do. Let's reduce the running down of people's character, and let's try to alleviate people at any level of life. And lastly, the Gospel Manager is a program assigned to alleviate life. Let us talk about it, share it, tell a friend, tell a father, tell a mother, tell a child, and get people to come live anytime we are privileged to be live. Subscribe, talk about it. Let us exalt gospel events. There are too many podcasts today on the earth representing the image of the devil and reducing the image of the church. Let us exalt the image of the church by recognizing what edifies people and exalts people and exalts the name of Jesus Christ. Let Jesus become the front line in every pages of the books we read, in every corridors we walk in every air we breathe, and everything we do. Let certain recognitions come into town. And I want to encourage everyone who is around my system, around the honor world, connected to me genuinely, get yourself a part of what God is doing here and do your best to make sure that you're a part of it. Stay blessed. It's a good week. God has promised you a better landing. When you land, the earth will know you have landed. Get the best and do the best and live the best. Be blessed in Jesus' name.
So you go ahead. Please also be reminded that from the month of November, God's servant is going to be hosting two very phenomenal programs. The first is Battle and Rattle. The first Friday of every month, we're going to dig things out and make sure that you win in that program. The next is Pursue, Overtake, and Recover All. That's for every first Saturdays of the month. Now remember, whatever you've lost from the month of January, whoever had gone ahead of you, it's time to pursue, to overtake, and to recover all. That will be your portion. Join us on Friday at 7 a.m. And as God's servant said, share this, make people know about Gospel Manager. It is the only online program where God's servant, a man of God, will sit down, take questions, and give you a way out by God's wisdom. So please do share it. And remember, no matter what you're going through, life is beautiful, and you, my friend, can handle it. I'll see you on Friday. God bless you.